I absolutely hate paste fishing. This bait here is a bait I've steered clear from for probably 20 years now, because every time I use it, it's ended up in disaster. Broken pole sections, broken top kits, foul hooked fish and a million missed bites. But the time has come, I need to learn how to do it. I've got some big matches coming up at Willenhurst and it's all paste fishing. So it's no good being stubborn. I've got to try and learn how to catch fish on this. So today I've dropped onto White Springs. We're on the pleasure lake. We've got a lovely bit of open water and I'm hoping we're going to catch a pile of nice skimmers and some carp, fishing paste and try not to lose the plot. Right, when it actually comes to the bait, I've got some mainline pellet paste there, really nice. This was designed by Robbie Taylor, in fact, and he is one of the best paste anglers about. So he's had a big hand in designing that. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So I've got some dry paste there. Absolutely stinks of fish meal. Smells absolutely banging. Now the way to mix this paste, it says on the back, 2 parts water to 1 part dry. Now, when you mix it, you'll think, oh my God, this has just gone to water. But this has been mixed for about 10 minutes now at that ratio, and it's super sloppy, but give it another 15 minutes and that'll be an absolute perfect paste. So I've got that. Now one thing I want to try with it, I'm going to have 2 different batches. I'm going to have the natural, but I'm also going to do some with green. I absolutely love a little bit of green, like in my ground bit and stuff, so I've got some beating green there. When it sets tidy now, I'll just put a capful in, mix it up, so I'll have some green stuff, and I'll also have some natural stuff to have a play with. There's a lot of skimmers in here, so I think that softer paste will be absolutely bang on. And for feed, I'm just going for some 4mm fishery pellets. Just bought them in the shop, but what I'm going to do with these, I'm just going to flash soak them, just to fur them up a little bit, because I want to feed with a catapult and like make a bit of an area rather than getting all my bait on a 10p piece and foul looking a lot of fish. I want to try and get them spread out a little bit. So I'm just going to put them in my little strainer, leave them in there, give them 30 seconds, lift them out, let them dry off, but then they'll be all a little bit furry on the edges. That's really nice. And these like I think they're like a scretiny kind of a pellet, so they do fur up really, really nice. So that's the bait. Really simple stuff. I think with the paste is getting your rigs right, where you're fishing, how you're feeding and everything like that is really important. So the paste is just looking after itself, but there, I've got a little bit of the dry stuff. We'll have that later. We might need to knock up another little batch perhaps, have a little play around with it. Our feed pellets are probably just about there now, so I'll just strain them off. And I'll just leave them on my tray, just keep giving them a shake round. And that's the bait pretty much done. So let's have a quick look at the rigs and have a little look where we're going to actually fish in the peg. Rigs. Now, I am no expert at paste fishing by a long way, so I've just sort of put together a rig to start with, what I think could be right. There's a few different ways of doing it, and a lot of better paste anglers than me set it up a couple of different ways, but this is what I'm going to go with. I wanted as simple and as hassle-free as possible. So what I've got some white elastic, that's sort of like 12 to 14, something like that. You know, a bit of guts, but we're still going to catch a lot of skimmers, so I want a little bit of forgiveness there. I've got 020 mainline. I've got 2 micro cubes number 9s as back shot. Now the paste what I've got, that's a Guru paste float. Can't even speak because I'm so annoyed about fishing paste. That's a prototype one. That just shows how much paste fishing I do. I haven't even got the newer one, so that's an old one, but it's going to do the job for me, I'm sure. Now it's got a nice long bristle on it, but I've got a little bit of silicone rubber there, just above the eye you can see. So what I can do, if I'm getting a few wrap overs when I'm shipping out, I can slide that little piece of silicone right to the top of my bristle, and that will stop the line sort of getting caught around behind the bristle when I'm shipping out. But what I'm thinking is, because it's so windy today, I don't want that bit of rubber right up to the point of the bristle, and then this bit of line here is going to act like a sail and pull my rig out of position. So I want to try and get this little bit of line here sunk behind my float, only because it's so windy. And then running down, I've just gone for something so simple. I got 3 number 8 micro cubes just strung apart there. So you're talking between like 18 inch, 14 inch and 12 inch there. Then I've got a gap of sort of 10 inch there, then I've got another dropper, and then I've got a 5 inch hook length, 018, and I think this is going to be a really good hook for paste fishing. I've got a size 10 Kaizen on there. Now it's got a nice offset sort of point, so that'll like help me grip onto the paste if I want to fish that really wet paste. So that's the rig, really simple. And what I've done, I'll show you now on the close-up. I've plumbed up right to the bottom of the body, and the bristle at the minute without the paste is shorted, so I've just got a little bit of grey sticking out. Now with the paste on, it'll pull it down a little bit, but I'll know then if the paste comes off and a little bit of the grey is on show, I'll know my paste has come off, time to ship in and start again. Hopefully there won't be too much of that today, or this could be a very short video, but that is the start. And what I've done, I've got a fast release pot. It's a fair way back from my pole tip there. So when I'm shipping out, I've got a nice bit of separation to stop that dreaded wrap around of your float with the line. So what I've done on my pole, I'll show you, is I've got a mark to where I'm fishing. I'll measure that off to the mark, that distance, further back, put another mark there. So I'll ship to the furthest mark, turn my paste pot over, paste will drop in, then I'll ship that 18 inches back so I know my float's right over my paste. Sounds a little bit complicated, but I'll show you it really isn't. So let me just show you quickly where we've plumbed up to on the float, the way the float is sitting, and I'll show you this little thing on my sections where I've measured up to. Right, so I'm just on the section now, so that's what I've plumbed up to fish, just on that bit of tape there. And what I've done, I've just offered the cup up to there, and then the point of my pole to there, and I've put another mark on there. So when I ship out, I'll ship to that point, turn my pot over, let the paste come out, and then just shimmy my pole back so I'm on this mark here, and I know my float is directly over my paste, but I can still have that nice separation to stop those frap overs when I'm shipping out. I reckon that's mega important. So that's the first little bit. Let's show you the plumbing up. Right, I'll quickly show you where I've plumbed up to. So I've just gone to start with, just onto the bottom of the body. I think that's always a nice place to start. So out to my little bit of tape, and I'll just lower it in. It's quite firm here, feels quite hard, so you can see them just literally just to the bottom of the body. So I've got that little bit of play. What I don't want is it being too direct onto the paste, and because it's quite windy today, there's probably going to be a bit of toe, and it can pull the hook out of my paste because my paste is quite soft. So that's where we are to start with. You know, I can play about with that a little bit if I need to as well. Let's do that. And like I said, I've just got a little bit of the grey in my body sticking out when it's just shorted. So when the paste is on, it'll pull it down a little bit, and when that paste pops off, a little bit of grey will pop out, and I know I've got to come back to put a new piece of paste on. So that's the setup. Pellets there, they've had that flash soaking, so they are ready to go. I'm going to feed them with a catapult, try and get over a bit of an area, and let's see if we can make something happen with this paste. I'm not really looking forward to this, I've got to be honest, but we'll give it a shot. Right then, let's start. So I've got everything ready. What I'm going to do, I'm going to feed with a catapult. Like I said, I'm going to try and spread them over a little bit of an area. I don't want them all just on like a 10p piece, so I almost stuck that hook straight into my fingers. I'm going to go with a decent sort of size bit of paste just to start. Something like that. Well, probably a bit too big that. Just like that, look. Like a bit of a, I don't know, walnut is it, I suppose. I'm just going to mould him on. And I'm just going to flatten off the bottom a little bit. I don't want it like a diamond, I want it like a nice blob. So that's what we're going with. Now when I used to fish this years ago at Ian Heaps's place, we never used to feed anything, like the paste would be your feed. So I'm just going to pop that in, but I'm going to put a few pellets in the pot to start with. So let's get out there. It'll take a while probably to get a bit of a read on this bristle, so I kind of know where it's going to be sitting all the time, but let's go, let's just have a look. I'm happy with the rig. Like that nice separation, so it's not tangling when I'm shipping out, it's not bouncing around. So I'm out to my little bit of tape there. I'll just gently turn the pot over, paste this out, and then just ship back now to my first bit of tape. Let that all settle. Now one thing with paste fishing is a lot of the time you can really attack your peg with the bait. I'm just going to let this gust go. See that? I feel like that bristle is just sitting nice there now. So I'm just going to wait for this bit of a breeze to pass before I actually loose feed anything. Now that looks like it's pulling to the side a little bit there. That's why, you know, you can actually fish paste with no shot on the line, and a lot of people fish it like that, but I always feel like there's no stability in your rig then. And all that's trying to happen is the buoyancy of the float is trying to pull the hook out of your paste. So let's just try feeding some pellets. Like I said, I'm not looking to get them on a 10p piece. I'm looking to spread them around a little bit. Oop, little job on the floor then, that's nice. So to start with, I'm just going to put my paste in, 2 pouches of pellets, and then just see where I go from there. I don't want to keep loose feeding it all the time and get a million fish off the bottom. I want them down on the deck, obviously. So we're just going to sit there now, and hopefully the bites will be as clean as a whistle. Here we go. Happy days. Oh, that was a nice bite, sort of just a quick jab. Feels like that should be a carp as well. I've gone for a slightly softer elastic than what I would probably normally use if it was lots of carp, just because there's so many bream in here. And even though we've got strong gear on, I do want a bit of elastic coming out for them. That feels like a carp to me, that one. Could this be my first carp in probably 20 years on paste? It's definitely a carp. And what's nice with paste is you can fish that really strong gear, like a 10s hook, or 20 line. I could probably do some black elastic in here, if I'm honest. If I'm going to catch loads of these, then I would step up. But like I said, I'm expecting loads of skimmers and maybe a few F1s. Oh yes. I'm happy with that for a start. So I just take my time, try to get it in. I've got some fight in this pleasure lake. It's like a spring-fed lake, so we go ballistic. There we go. These ours. Oh, happy days. Oh, it's not a bad fish. 5 pound or so. There we go. First one on the paste for many a year, that one. It's a lovely fish. He's hooked right in the middle of the top lip as well. So that's a brilliant start. Lovely bite, like that bite just sort of, it was like a real quick sharp bite, almost like no was going to be in the mouth. Any of them slow sort of pulls and indications, just steer clear of them, because you'll be in trouble if you start striking at every little indication on the paste. So they say, not that I know. So back in. And one thing you've got to watch with paste fishing is because you've got a lot of fish in your peg, it can wreck the bottom and start digging it out. So the good thing with it is, because of the weight of the paste, you'll sort of know because your float will not sit how it was before. So just keep an eye on that, especially like soft silty venues. But that's where feeding with a catty can be quite good, just to spread them out that little bit. But the bottom does feel quite firm where I am there. Not seen much fizzing or anything. So let's just settle into this chuck. And just keep eyes peeled for the proper. See that little slow pull, and I do not want to strike at that, because you're asking for trouble. And you will get a lot of liners doing this kind of fishing. Oh, there we go. What's that? That looks like a nice skimmer, look. And that's what I mean, that ain't a huge skimmer, but it took a big old blob of paste. Go. Hooked right in the middle of the top lip again, that one. Keep still so I can show you the hook hold. Look at that. Nailed. Nice skimmer, even on a big old piece of paste. You can still catch them. And bream and skimmers absolutely love eating paste. But so far so good, I'm really pleased. Like, no tangles, just shipped out nice, tidy. I think those 2 little marks on my pole are making a big difference. So I know where to feed and I know where to ship back to. Got a good separation there, tangle free. So far so good. probably 5 foot where we're fishing there, so you know, it's a decent bit of depth there. We're fishing sort of 12 metres, I'd have said, which is like quite a nice, see, like that's gone under straight away now, and I don't know why. I don't think it would have been a bite as quick as that. And my float is sitting super low all of a sudden. Now, I don't know whether I risk just trying to lift that float a touch, or I'll have lifted the paste off. God, this wind is an absolute disaster. Blowing my pellets everywhere. Well, we're still fishing anyway, so let's try and hold on to this little jar then. There we go. Now that's sort of lifted and then just pulled down quite slowly, but that's a big old turkey plate that is, look. Oh yeah, look at that. And I think that's what those bream are. They're like funny old bites off bream, but I think those carp will just whack it under. And that's a big old lid. But that's a nice bit of fishing. Look at him, look. There's a prop. Oh, and that is. And you can do like big weights of these big skimmers and bream. There's a leaf on him there, look. Look at that. Hooked right in the corner of the mouth. That's that size 10 kais, and it's just lovely for a bit of paste fishing. But we're going well. I feel like we're doing a nice little job of this at the minute. So let's have another go with a normal paste. Like that sort of size. That's just a nice little size, that is. Just make sure nothing's tangled, nothing's wrapped around. Like you can see, there's a good bit of separation there now. And those weights are just keeping our line that side. Stop it all flicking about everywhere. Drop him in. Oh, the wind is a bit of a problem, but I'm going to try get my pellets out there. There are, they're out. See, that float is just sitting a little bit low all of a sudden now. I don't know why he's doing that. It is towing a fair bit, mind. So that's probably pulling that float down just a touch. Keep a good spread on those pellets. Well, that float's just risen back up a touch now. Maybe when you put it in, it just takes a second or two to find its position. I don't really know, to be honest, but we're catching a couple, so we can't be... Oh, no, that was a bite. That's a carp. That's a typical carp bite. That just absolutely trammed under. Cool, that was lovely, that. That's a proper bit of a paste bite. They're the bites we want. I enjoyed that. That was really nice. Oh yeah, he's banging his head there. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I feel like everything was bang on there, and as you've seen, like, that just absolutely disappeared, that did. Absolute fighting machines in here, they are. Look at this now going. Where's that going now? Oh, he's going to come back. Yeah. Oh, we're getting blown away now. We're getting blown off as we speak. Come on, but up you come. See, if you were catching these when a bung, you want a stronger elastic on here, but there's so many of those nice skimmers in here. It's quite nice with this white elastic when you're catching them. Oh yes. Come on in. There he goes. That's a lovely fish, that one. They're like peas in a pod here at the minute. Come. Got to be happy with that, haven't you? Hooked to the top lip again. Right, I've actually missed 2 or 3 bites and I just foul hooked the carp, like, but he was really shallow. So what I'm going to do, I just want to quickly check the depth. Just make sure they haven't dug out. I don't think they will have done, but like I've missed 2 or 3 bites there now where I wasn't missing a bite earlier on, and I've just foul hooked the carp like half depth. So there you are, look at that. I think that is from that foul hooked carp. And I almost just shipped out then with some paste. I thought that lash is looking a bit long. So let's just reposition it. That's one thing to bear in mind, like not just paste fishing, but any fishing where you're fishing where it's soft and there's quite a few fish in your peg. You really want to keep an eye on what's that. If you start missing a few bites or like a bristle's not sitting right, just check it. Takes seconds to do, but I've been guilty of it myself where I've sat there fishing away and catching one a bung and then foul hooking a few missing bites. I'm like, what's going on? And fish like that for 20 odd minutes, replumb it up, and you're like, oh my god, I've been fishing inch off bottom. Foolish. So that's where we need to be. So let's just drop in now. Just be careful when you're using like micro cubes or any shot like that. They do tend to slide a little bit on your line. So you just want to be careful, make sure they're in position. Again, nice piece of paste. Now let's see if that's going to cut out a couple of missed bites on a foul hooker. Because up until our little funny 5 minutes, it's been absolutely brilliant. No, hardly a missed bite. So just let that float bed in. There it is. Just a few blows starting to happen there now. There's an odd bit of a fizz. There's a few fish there. Oh yeah, there's a couple in there now. And you'll find out with the paste, the more you fish it, the more and more fish come into your peg, like eating those pellets. That little bit of paste coming off every time you miss a bite to hook one. Oh, should have struck at that then. Strike at that one instead. There we go. There we go. Just one simple little change, look. And we are straight back into fish. So that's something you've got to bear in mind all the time when fishing with this paste. Nice skimmer. Oh yeah, lovely skimmer. I don't know how long he had that on for because I probably should have struck 10 seconds earlier. I had a quick jab. And I probably could have struck on it, but he held on to it long enough to give us a second chance. He must know how bad we are at paste fishing. So clean all that snot off. There we go. The only thing I've been a little bit wary of is when I have missed an odd bite is feeding over my float. So because I can see the fizz in there already, I think I'm just going to loose feed it before I ship out and then drop my paste in. It's a fairly warm all day and I'm pretty sure these fish want to be up off the bottom. So give them a couple of poachers. was a quick bite. So what I think, I'm going to call it there on that session. We've had a brilliant session. I got so much more confidence in fishing with paste just after a short session like today. So if you've been like me and steered clear of paste fishing for probably 20 years, get out, give it a try, because I'm pretty sure of one thing is, if I can do it after all this time of not doing it, anyone can do it. And what have we got to finish? Oh, look at that to finish off. What a fish to finish on. A fat little crucian, look. Just goes to show you everything will eat paste. So get out, give it a try. I'm so much more confident after today. I'll go as far as to say as I even enjoyed that.